Prem Sabalomapati Mahadeva ki Jai, Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. And welcome everybody to our third night or last night of discourse related to the Kartik Maas. On this occasion of the Prabodhani Ekadasi, I wish you all Lord Vishnu's blessings at the very onset of our satsang tonight. For the past 2 nights, we've been discussing from Padma Puran and Matsya Puran details surrounding the history surrounding this month of Kartik. So the first night we did, where did Kartik come from? Ekadasi, where does these things start? The story of the demon Sankhya, Sank, and Mahavishnu's involvement to save the earth there, and why we sing and glorify during this month of Kartik. Why is it full of so much revelry? It is partly because of that discourse in the court system in India. People took they took to task the whole issue of fireworks and you know, the noise makers. Let's call it the noise makers, because there are different categories and I'm not an expert. But the loud bangs, not so much the flashing light, but the noise is what everybody has a problem with. Even in Trinidad, I feel sorry for, and I spoke about it on Diwali night, I feel sorry for heart patients and newborn babies, not to mention all our furry friends and friends with feathers, with the loud noise. But it was held up that part of the celebration of Kartik, that the expression of joy, the noise and the revelry, and it was held up. You could do your research. It was held up because of what Kartik represents. Kartik was the month the Devatas and the Devis made noise to wake up Lord Vishnu. So the logic is that is the nature of this religious occasion. I don't know if you knew this. This is why in Trinidad culture, in Caribbean culture, we had the bamboo gun. That is why that kind of correlates with Diwali. That is one of the reasons why. The noise maker, that aspect of it. In it, we hear how the Devatas did what they had to do to wake up Lord Vishnu on that first night. So the devotees guided in the month of Kartik to sing, glorify, blow the sangh, ring the bell, play their instruments, etc. And in my opinion, this is my opinion now, if you had asked me my stance on the fireworks, personally, as I said before, I as a person jump easy. I am not lying. And if a scratch bomb go off, if a firework go, I'll be the first one to jump and squeal out. Probably let down myself, to be honest. I like to watch fireworks, but I'm very reactive to the noise. So me personally, I would have told the person, well, learn to play a drum if you're so enthusiastic about waking up Lord Vishnu. Play a drum, sing your bhajan, do it in a different way, but do it in a more humane way. Just as Hindus practice ahimsa, and we practice that. Violence in no form, hurt in any form, is not to be encouraged. And when you look at the elderly, when you look at newborn defenseless babies, when you look at animals, and they cannot defend themselves, they are defenseless, then they depend on you and I to defend them. And this is where better sense needs to prevail. Maybe we do zoning for fireworks. Maybe we limit the caliber of certain fireworks. Just as how you don't set off certain fireworks because your neighbor is living too close and it's a risk. What about the noise to the neighbor's relative or family or pet? In that way, I would say there are safer ways, more conducive and humane ways to celebrate the Lord and His worship in a more, amicable, loving fashion. So for the person who asked me to just touch on that fireworks thing based on the topic of Kartik, that's your answer. Together with my opinion. But it did come from the celebrations, the revelry of what the Devatas did as we emulate their practice. Then on the second night last night we did the history of, in Padma Puran, he talked about Yudhishthira is listening to Lord Krishna And he's talking about, as we said, there are 12 months, has every month, 12 months in a year. Each month has 2 Ekadasi, one in the bright half, one in the dark half of the month. And 12 by 2 is 24. There are 24 Ekadasi, but today was something called Prabodhani Ekadasi, the best, the biggest one out of all. We explained that Prabodhani meant or means the awakening, because today is the day that Lord Vishnu was awoken after the Chaturmas, after the period of sleep. So he comes back today. So today is revelry. Today is the day we celebrate. Today is the day we sing. Part of your puja, as you will hear in a little bit, is to sing and to glorify God. Tonight we have to sing a little bit in order for our satsang to be complete. Tonight we'll go into a little more depth into the vrat of the Kartik, what is happening. We also spoke about, before I forget, Bhishma Panchak. Somebody had asked me about Bhishma Panchak and what it is, what is the benefit, how to do it, when does it start. It started today and it goes on every day until the Purnima, which is on Tuesday. So tonight in our discourse we're continuing. We'll do Gita, we have to do Padma Puran is our focus. We have 2 different sections that are focusing on closing off. Tonight we are talking predominantly. Last night we spoke about how to do certain aspects. Tonight we're talking about a lot about bathing, the bathing, because a lot of people have that a little confused about what we could do, what we're not supposed to do, what is to be done, what is not to be done. And we want to clarify certain things, and we have to talk about currently right now with the ban on the ocean and all these things coming, and this day is coming up, what is a Hindu supposed to do. So we want to discuss that a little bit. And also we need to talk about the there is the issue as one in one of our previous satsang. I think it was when I was doing the Bakasur satsang the other day, when one of my godchildren was celebrating her birthday, where Krishna fights the bird. Remember that discourse? The Baka. The demon takes a big a form like a big crane, and he came to destroy Lord Krishna. In that discourse, someone had asked a question about the pollution aspect. And we need to touch on that a little bit, because there are some things that we are not supposed to do and we need to talk about it. So, and then again I'm going to go back to Gita. So a lot to talk about, everybody. Again, Siddharam, welcome. Tonight our discourse has some information in it. If you'd like to grab a pen and paper, I invite you to do so. If you want to share this satsang, for those of you viewing at this point, I invite you to share it so that other people can hear it. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're from, what you're doing. Have you ever heard this? And if you have any questions, boy, leave me a question. Don't worry. We get into it, okay? Before we go further, let's put our hands together and let's say our prayers. Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kabheta Jumbo Palacharavakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangalamangaliye Shive Sarvartasadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. One more time, everybody. Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Tonight I want to welcome you again to our final session in this Kartik Maas Yagna. And I hope that so far you've understood what we've discussed. I hope that you are learning about your Dharma. Why is that important? Why is it important to have sessions like this where we could elucidate, where we could edify the public, where we could get to our brothers and sisters in such a way that, listen, maybe you could do something better. Maybe you could understand, at a minimum, understand your Dharma a little better. As a Sanatanist, maybe you need to practice something a little different. So last night, for example, I harped on the point of all the points that were there, about when you're doing this prayer called the Ekadasi Brat, which was today, you need to do your prayer with joy. You need to do your prayer and fight the good fight, I agree, to be happy. We take those things for granted. We miss those parts. What we focus on, I'm doing the prayers, I'm fasting from meat. And then Ekadasi, that means some people, not everybody, but some people will know, I'm fasting from beans. That's it. I don't know why. Is that all? Yes, that's it. That's all I have to do. So I did that. Every time you do it, you get through. If that is all you focus on, every time you did prayers, tell me the truth here tonight. Did it work for you? Tonight, be honest with yourself. Stop fooling yourself. Stop it. Tonight, get very brutally honest with yourself. Could it have more? Cheap things, simple things. If you listen to your discourse, if you listen to what God really wants, He talks about being happy, about being joyful. But how could you be happy and joyful when bad things are happening? But then He also talks about, in Ramayana we spoke about it the first night, this life is like a dream in the night. And when you're dreaming, he says, Lakshman says, in Ayodhya Khan we were talking, he says, if a pauper dreams he's a king, when he wakes up, does that mean he's rich? Did he gain something in that dream? Or does he leave it in the dream? If a very rich man dreams he's a pauper, when he gets up, did he lose something? No, you'll say it was a dream. Likewise, this life is that a perpetual dream. We are all lost in the night, in the dark, in the chasms of this life, where you get so caught up in the dream of life, you start to think, this is my kurta, this is my watch, this is my book, this is my property, this is my vehicle, this is my wife, this is my child, this is my. Is it yours? Girl Pran, we said it last night, when you're going in the fire, the best are the best, you love them, they overlove you, daddy, they overlove you, love you, dad. When the body start to rot and smell funny, Girl Pran says, they will twist their faces and turn and leave you there. When the fire roars in your pyre, the best of the best relatives will pull back with the heat. But what goes into that fire with you? Your good and your bad deeds. Your good and your bad deeds. Then the person who realizes that truth is as if he's waking up from this dream. So I'm fighting my whole life for 5 foot of land, and when I die, I leave it here, like the guy who gained something in the dream. Remember that analogy? But when you die, the reality now, when you leave, you can't go with it. You have no way of taking it with you. So what did you really get? It was as if you were in a dream and somebody gave you something temporary and you said, oh, I have something, this is mine. But in truth, you don't have anything. You don't have it because it is not part of the Jiv Atma. He talks about the Jiv Atma sitting in the heart of the the individual. Last night he described surrounded by arteries, this energy sits there and powers everything. But the knowledge of doing more is part of what we have to talk about tonight. Let me begin tonight by entering into chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Just to set the tone for a little talk tonight. Chapter 4, I am reading from verse 37. All right, let me say 36. Even if you were the most sinful of the sinners, knowledge would carry you like a raft across your sins. Because the blazing fire of knowledge reduces the fuel, which is like the sin, to ashes. Ever so the knowledge of fire turns all actions, bad actions, sinful action, to ashes. It burns it out. In this world, there is no purifier as great as knowledge. Gyani, Sankhya. He who attains purity in his heart through the prolonged practices of karma yoga. Karma yoga is like what we're talking about here. Austerity, fasting, puja. Automatically sees the light of truth in the self in the course of time. So what that means, a fancy word in there, what I mean? By study, doing the prayers and learning and growing and developing, eventually it is as if you're going to wake up from that sleep we was talking about, that dream, my land, my wife. It has happened. When you're 19, you just think one way. When you're 30, you just think one way. When you're 40, you start to think different. When grandchildren come, trust me, the same mistake that child could have done, and you would have beat that child, the grandchild did. Oh God, they're cute, eh? They're so cute. My mother just do that regular. And I just wonder, is this the same woman? If I throw that tantrum back in my day, I just tell she, Ma, I would have dead. Mommy, you would have killed me. She said, yeah, but them different. You just find yourself saying them things. Are you like my mother? Leave my text. Come on. Be honest. But you ever notice that how that has happened? Is the crime different? No. If it was the law that I say murder is murder, thief is thief, you do it, he do it, same crime, same punishment. But in the heart and the mind of the same person, change comes. And what brings that change? They say with age come knowledge, age come wisdom. So the person started to perceive things different. But did you go to a class? Did you get a degree? No. But the knowledge of this life experience gives you that. So by constantly doing karma yoga, automatically you start to see the truth, and it brings about the change. That change is what burns away the sin. He who has mastered his senses exclusively devotes himself to my practice with faith, attains that knowledge. If you don't have faith and you're doing something, you're going to doubt it. Let me use an example. I know how this brand of flour, follow me, I don't know how this brand of flour will cook. I don't know. That don't mean you have faith in the flour. I've never made sada roti with this flour before. How could you have faith in something you don't know about? When you don't know about something, you have to test it, you have to do it, you have to experiment, but that don't mean you have faith. That means you're looking for it. You're looking to learn about the nature of this flour. I want to test the flour. If I cook it in bake, if I cook it in bread, it will come out nice. But don't try to make dumpling with it. It's an utter waste of time. Then you know it. When you know it, I have faith. I believe. I know that when I cook it in so and such way, I will get my desired outcome. Likewise, having the revelation of the truth, the nature, with the knowledge of, in this case, God, that person immediately attains peace in the form of God realization. Peace, that shanti, meaning to say, I don't have to look helter-skelter. I don't have to fight. I know my God is here. My God is with me in the roti bowl. My God is with me in the eyes of the dog. My God is in the eyes and the heart of the baby. That compassion. How could you believe, Sitaram, everybody, and believe God is only in the heart and mind of the Hindu, or God is in the heart and mind of only the Indian, or God is in the heart and mind of the human, but the dog, when the firework go off, man, well, hum sawali bol. However, whatever, I don't care. But if God is everywhere, in everything, then you live to suit. Then with that knowledge, the knowledge of God being there, it guides your... Think about it. Would you kick the dog if Lord Krishna was living in his heart? If you knew God was living, as he described last night, as the little light in the heart of all beings, power in everything, like the atomic structure, would you then, like we saw it on some media the other day, a couple of years ago, a child lit a dog on fire, a chicken on fire, like cruel, animalistic kind of, kind of beast kind of mentality. I don't know where people has come out with these things. You'll throw gas on an animal and light it. How could you do that if God living inside of that? So imagine now, I believe God lives there. Children, please listen. In Hinduism, during this time for Diwali, they are in areas of South India where people in China, they're cooking the dog. In India, we worship the dog. Look at our religious pictures. You see chicken, snake, alligator, you see even dog. I think the only animal I've never seen associated with a Hindu form is a bear. A subject to correction if I am mistaken, but everything that walks in the animal kingdom, even the fish, the turtle, all of these things are considered to be worshipped. What's it right here? What's it? Worshipper. And able to be artied, capable, and offer the Nag Panchami milk and all these things. You could do puja for that. And this is one of the signs of the knowledge that we're talking about. By constantly doing this, gaining that knowledge, it is revealed the truth in what? God realization. Realizing about God, learning about God, knowing where God is. For example, knowing where God lives. Last verse for this section, I'm stopping at verse 40. He who lacks discrimination is devoid of faith. Discrimination, let me put it simple. Good, bad. Who don't know the difference between good, bad, behavior, thinking, friends, what to do, what not to do. Let me say, burn the dog, don't burn the dog. Light the firecracker, kill the dog. Light the firecracker, kill the baby. The poor lady, her heart, let me kill she and see if the heart working good. Do it, don't do it. Is devoid of faith. Faith in what? In the God. That the God is living here. No. The God is living in the dog today. The God is living inside that elder today. The God is living inside of that newborn baby's soft ears. The eardrum of that baby, which part of our baby had in any case, but in the ears. And that ricocheting sound. You didn't have faith that God lived there. You have become as if it were Kans trying to kill Krishna. Kans is bad when he sends all his friends and emissaries to kill Krishna the newborn. But you with your fireworks and all the different scratch bomb and all the legal and illegal weapons lay attack against children during these times of festivity. Not only in the Hindu times but all. But I'm a Hindu, so I'm talking about mine. And is at the same time possessed of doubt. Doubt of what? What? Does the prayers make sense? Does God really live in the dog? Do I have to behave good? Why do I have to behave good? Why do I have to do it? Then it's really like Kans. Kans did Yagna and Kans did Puja and he did this and he did that. And still, because his inert in his heart, all the knowledge, all the advisors, all the God, all the people that were prayerful and all these things that were around him were not capable of getting into his head for him to change his ways. Because sometimes people don't take advice. They say the worst vice is advice. They have plenty of people who don't, they're ready to change. That's where they come up with the statement, who don't listen to this feel. Years ago when I was a manager in a lab, the director at the time, I always remember, he said the easiest way you want to fire somebody, give them what they want. In those days, I had to meet my objective and I want the best team and all that. I said, no, don't get upset. He said, you're getting upset and you're telling the person what to do and you're telling that one what to do. No. You are taking that on yourself. You're getting worked up because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. He says the easiest way, give them what they want. They want to come late, give them it. They want to stay home, give them it. And when they fail, use their own words, use their own actions to hang them. Don't we say that in life? The person who is full of doubt, they're lost on the spiritual path. For the doubting soul is neither here nor there, neither happy in this world. Listen to this line, verse 40, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. For the doubting soul, there is neither happiness in this world or the next world, no happiness whatsoever, because they cannot find peace. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. We'll come back to Bhagavad Gita at the tail end of our discourse tonight. Tonight, before I go into Padma Puran, Balram Sukhu, a young boy, well, not a young boy, a young guy. His funeral is tomorrow in Connecticut. He died. Ram Sumir Samaru tonight. Sargam Samaru, that's from Oma's Puja store in San Fernando. Today is his 6 months and I dedicate part of this satsang for him. A good friend of mine, Kowar Suknanan, who once worked with the UNC office, Suki as we used to call him. He died Wednesday with COVID. Wonderful man. Yesterday in Trinidad, 22 deaths. That 22 deaths puts us at the second deadliest, most fatal day since May of this year with COVID. Let that sink in a little bit. We'll sing in a little bit. Let's enter into volume 8. Volume 8, chapter 93. As we're talking about our Kartik. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Sangramye Nila Purva Pura Bhagavan Vishnu Kartik Masam Snana Dana Vratyate Kundayate Janaye Yati Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tava Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tava Sharanam. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai, Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Remember what we said just now? The knowledge will take you like a raft over your sin. The knowledge will burn away your sins. Please pay attention tonight. Foolish people listening to the narrative of the Puran, singing the name of Mahavishnu, are never hated by me. In fact, regardless of their history, they come to me. There are certain flowers, even it is given here, hill plantain, jasmine, salmali, rice, the sunflower, different types, some from locally, some internationally. But for example, datur flowers and pods are not to be used in Vishnu Puja. There's varieties of plantain, not banana, as banana is supposed to be used in Vishnu Puja as per Satnarayan, chapter 1 Satnarayan Brat. But there are different types of plantain that is not to be used. Jasmine flowers and rice grains. Believe it or not, rice is not supposed to be offered in his puja. I know it sounds strange, but it is true. This is one of the examples of something that we could improve. Lord Shiva, he is not supposed to be worshipped with Ketaki flowers. That is when the discourse, you know that discourse, when they stop worshipping Brahma, where Bhairav Baba is from. On the 27th, when we're doing our hamper drive, that will be the Kal Bhairav Ashtami. So we'll do that discourse that day. That's the day for it. We'll do the stotra and everything. And we'll talk about Ketaki there again. Did you know that? That there's a flower called Japa, Kunda, Shirisa. All these are not to be used in Shiv Puja. When a person, and I am reading, let me just make sure and quote this, because I just have people listening to me and they just want to come. 92, chapter 92, volume 8, Padma Puran. When one is worshipping Ganesh, you are not to use tulsi leaves. Likewise, when a person is doing Mangala Gauri Vrat or Parvati Mata Vrat, that is predominantly when people are praying for a husband. Do not use doob grass. A man desiring wealth should not offer to Surya Damanka flowers. That species of flowers does not exist in the West Indies or in the Northern Hemisphere. But a person doing worship, a person should make sure the appropriate hymns, mantras, stotras are being chanted. For this reason, last night I sent out on the group, on the WhatsApp group, I put up the group on my Facebook. If you'd like to be part of our group, please click and join with us. Share it for others to get into the group so that they would learn and be able to benefit. I put up the Sahasranam Stotra of Lord Vishnu. That's the 1008 name, chanting, gentle and nice tune, easy going. For those of you that had copies, we had given out copies in booklet forms a while back. Some people were using it and following along because of the different language, the pronunciation, they used it. And then we did the Purusha Suktam, which I did read partly last night. We did it today in the groups, in the puja. We had puja today where we were using the Vishnu Bhagwan, we did with the mango seedling, all these things. So you had the chance and you just had to play it whilst you were doing your prayer. These prayers should not be read without devotion, without the right attitude. In this way, the person, when they finish, prostrates themselves on the ground, O Kartik. The person should lie like a staff, like a stick, straight in front of the Murti. And in doing so, they would gain the blessings of Mahavishnu. Tonight we enter into chapter 93. As we go forward, we start with the bathing. Every morning, let the person, whether it is sesame seed, some people use gobar, sesame seed, to go and have a bath in a pond or the water. This is every day of the Kartik. This is not the Purnima. This is not Kartik Nahandi. The bath, even in an artificial pond, artificial pond, natural pond or river, confluence of two rivers coming together. That's like when we were talking the first night and we were talking about Prayag, where Yamuna and Ganga meet. Such places give tenfold the blessings, Padma Puran. A bath taken at holy places give unlimited blessings. Remember Lord Vishnu as you are going to bathe, and it gives out mantras and things here. When you're going, simple. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm explaining this so that you could do it for the next few days. Mahavishnu is the person, Vaikunth, Prayag, Badrika, Ashram, these places where his foot is printed. If you think about these places, if you call the name when you're bathing, all this is very good. Say in your prayer, may the devatas Don't let anything harm me, damage me, as you scrub your skin with the water. Now, when you're going to do this, why they say in pond, artificial pond, meaning man-made? Because you have to be, they would like you waist deep. Sometimes that is not practical. So you just let the water wet your entire body and you do the same prayers. May my sin perish by your grace, O Sri Hari Vishnu. May you, O Lord of Radha, may you take away the sin by me doing this prayer in this Kali Yuga in the month of Kartik. And in this way, I offer my body, myself, through the act of bathing. He says here that in the act of bathing, a lot of sin is burnt away. Cleansing, not physically alone. Sometimes we hustle and we bathing. There are people who don't know to bathe properly. Do you know that? Let me give you an example before we go forward. Let me paint a scenario and you tell me. We get up early. Tomorrow we have Puja. I get up early. We bathe and prepare ourselves, but we have to go in the kitchen to make the mahanbhog and all that, realistically. So we bending down with the ring stove and lighting fire and the heat hitting your face. Then you turn in the big pot and you start to sweat. So my body now totally drenched after I've done all what I had to do. Baba coming. Should I, this is the decision, should I go and bathe again or should I go and sit as is and do my puja? Many people will say, Baba, go and sit down and do your puja. But in that way, that is not correct. For this reason, the person who is doing puja, you know it in Shraddha, they say don't let that person cut up takari. The boys and them who have to cut, if they get cut, they can't do the Shraddha, the different pinda offering and so on. Don't let them be involved in that. Otherwise, the option is go and do it. If you have no help, do it, but just go back and bathe to refresh yourself, clean yourself, so that there is no drippage. Your body is so clean when you're going to make the offering. Because we know if your body is not clean, you are not fit to do offering. Imagine somebody who has diarrhea, a girl who is unclean for a monthly cycle. Somebody just rolled off the bed and they didn't bother to bathe. I could do the prayers just so, man. Who gonna know? Observing this vow primarily best if you're to nibble in water. The householder should take sesame seed and there's something called amla. Amla is like it looks something like a dongs. It doesn't really grow in Trinidad. We get it in North America and in the Caribbean as amla powder. You mix that and you scrub your skin. These trees, just like the sesame seed is believed to come from the sweat of Lord Vishnu, in Garud Puran he says that when Surjani Swami goes into the atmosphere, he takes human form to come and bow to him, and when he touched him, the heat that was pervading from the sun was so much, Lord Vishnu starts to sweat. So now you take that and you're rubbing your body to clean your body. The hermit, the ascetic, the person who wears tulsi mala, the person who is living a kind of sadhu lifestyle, they go one step further. They take the mud at the root. Somebody asked me about this, and I'm answering your question. Padma Puran, Slok 11, 12, 13, Slok 13, volume 8. The person, this is not for everybody. This is done by those people who don't eat meat, don't drink liquor, they don't have wife, etc. Right? They take the mud from under the tulsi plant and they rub their skin. Now, if a person has different type of problem and they are willing to fast like a sadhu, meaning separate themselves for a period of time, you will see this being done prior to the puja. So this is like prior to the Viva Sanskar, we make the boy or the girl bathe with milk, dahi, ghee, etc. This is something like that to purify the person in a different way. In a different time, I can't remember where I was reading, and I highlighted that the spiritual bath is there, and we'll talk about it more tonight. When you're doing Surj Puran, when you're doing Surya Puja, and you take the root of the bael plant, you boil it and you put different grains in it, and with mantra you're bathing, and the health problems that some people have, they're able to overcome it. Using the dust from these seeds, from this mud, a person with proper prayer, with mantras, suktam, like what we were chanting yesterday and night before, everybody could be with this. The woman, any caste, children, all. Maybe one by one, mommy see children and husband bathe first and then she will bathe in the end. That's fine. Dear God, in this way, by following this Vrat, Lord Vishnu, you are the destroyer of sin. May you, by my devotion, remove my history. May you remove my problems. May you purify me. In this way, all the Aditi, Yaksh, Siddha, serpents, herbs, mountain, all the beings, may they purify me. Having chanted these hymns, this is every day in the month of Kartik, everybody, be clear. When you're done with that bath, with that scrubbing with the powder and the dirt, put on your kush grass ring. Now I mentioned that in the month of Kartik, the mango leaf has value. But the major value of this is from our text only in the month of Kartik. Outside Kartik, it does not have the same amount of punyam, of luster. Better than this is the kush grass. The kush grass still is superior. Do you understand that? When you offer the tarpan, I hope and pray that just as how long ago people didn't know how to tie the dhoti, I hope today when people come with the Baba do have to tie a dhoti. Our people need to improve, if you ask me. I remember I was 13 and I was doing puja. And when you go, Baba, you know how to make parsad? Well, in those days, Baba, me, I know how to make parsad. So I get away from that one. Then Baba, you know how to tie the dhoti, or come tie the dhoti, and you gotta go one side with the man in his underwear and help him tie dhoti and fix him and then dress him and then bring him by the bedi for you to sit down and do the prayers. The typical person doesn't know how to make lawan or prep for the puja or prepare for the prayer. And the whole thing is, whose prayer is this? This is your prayer, and you are supposed to prepare yourself. That is what the books tell you. Prepare yourself and prepare the items that are going to be offered. The sweat, the effort of making your Mahan Bhog, making what is going to be offered. There is where the karma is coming from. That's how you get your blessings. Hopefully, we have those days of somebody dressing you have gone. In my opinion, the Hindu should realize the prayer is an opportunity for you to please your God. Not for somebody else. I'm saying the Pandit because I'm the Pandit. But not for somebody else to come and do the work on your behalf. You have to learn. You don't know, get a cookbook and learn how to make parsad. Go up on YouTube, learn how to tie a dhoti. You don't know how to make malaf? Learn, find out. We are not born with the answers, but just like how I had to learn to read and learn how to do all these different things in a way that I had to, one thing is to read it, the next way is to know it in such a way that you could explain it and break it down for everybody. This is my work. You have yours. And maybe if you did it, because this is the issue in many cases, I don't know how to fix the pan leaf, I don't know how to clean the doob grass, I don't know how to, I never make a mala. But when the prayer is done, the Pandit have to give you now a guarantee that you do that one prayer and not going and solve all your problem. From cheating wife to children adolescent to the job that want to fire you because you could never reach on time. Your account could never have money because you're only spending it by the roulette machine. But the one prayers that you did very little in preparation, the Pandit have to explain that prayers is going to work like magic, abracadabra, foo, and give you all the answers, everything to work like that. It don't. So tonight, I'm telling you, that's the truth. This is why when you're doing your prayers, please be clear. The best thing for you to use for your ring is your kush grass. Why? It represents Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. If you listen to the mantra the Baba says when he put it on the ring, he's calling kush grass on your hand. Then the person should offer tarpan. on behalf of all the ancestors. Then he should worship Mahavishnu, just like how this Murti here, calling on him in the form of Mura when he destroys different demons, etc. And he does the worship, praise to Lord Vishnu. Then goes to look for the Brahmanas, those people that practice prayer, live by chanting Gayatri. He says these people are the forms of the unmanifest form of Lord Vishnu upon the earth. The energy of Mahavishnu is there. When they eat in your home, he eats. When they accept gifts, when they are happy, he is happy. For this reason in Gita you will see he made the caste, the different Brahman, the different Kshatri. He is the one who created these things. Then the person should worship Tulsi Mata. Tulsi Mata in particular, her puja is tomorrow. Too much discourses for this 3 nights, but she gets married tomorrow. Jalandhar discourse is what is normally read. Then a person listens to the different Puran, like what we're doing tonight. Earlier today, in the groups that we did puja with online, people from all over the world. Tonight, as they listen to their discourse, this is why we are reading these things to conclude. By doing this type of vrat in this way, in the day after day, day after day, day after day, by this worship to that Sri Hari Vishnu, it removes disease, destroys sin, which is great, and gives in its place good thoughts, and in it brings happiness with children, comfort with wealth, and know that one day when you have to go, that salvation, mukti is going to be there. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. In chapter, this is the same chapter 9, volume 9, chapter 117. He goes into a little depth now for the last day. Alright, I'll come back to that. Let me continue. Chapter 94 in volume 8. The restraints now, when you're holding back. He says, when you're doing this vrat, a person should not be eating any kind of flesh, meat, bean. The observer, why the bean is the problem? He answers it here. The observer of the Kartik vow should avoid corn or those seeds that are whole. Sesame oil should not be used. And why? Because that seed could grow. Coconut is, you'll hear just now, coconut is something not to be drank, not to be eaten in this time. Because many people think, okay, I'm fasting, maybe I should drink some coconut water. And that's true, we would think that for the electrolytes and all that. But because the coconut is something that has the fertility to grow, you're not eating those things. It comes just like if you're eating a life, a flesh in his worship. That's the problem with the greens. Please understand that. Somebody said that they heard that when you eat rice, it would turn to worms in your stomach. Maybe somebody said that, but that isn't factual. You could put rice in your mouth all you want, it wouldn't turn to worms. The problem with the greens, and Mommy Baba would say, like I'm mad, but that is the truth. That is why they say don't eat rice and grains. But the truth is, he says, because of the fertility of the bean, do not eat that during this time. Goes on to say, and this is something that we need to stress, do not eat food that is polluted by tears. Do not eat food that is polluted by bad thoughts. Do not eat food that is polluted by bad words. Imagine you're cooking. I hate you. Yes, see, we're going to cook food. And me and Mommy Baba chunky in the pumpkin, for example. But we only talking about people and how they look and how this one bad and this one go leave that one and that one go dead and you're ill speaking somebody. But they tell you, and you notice, that how the cook is thinking, so the food is going to come out. Have you ever gone, let me say, with a boglagawe pressed food, where they bless it, and you eat the pressed food, and you feel, before you know your serving size, you take it out, and before you can reach halfway through the food, your belly feel full. It's as if the food different. But if you go where maybe the same recipe is cooked, but it is not sanctified, it's not blessed, they have meat and other kind of menu as well, it would never follow the same way. It would never feel the same way. And that shows the value of the prayer, but also the quality of the food. And quality of food comes from the quality of the cook making the food. Hence, we make a big fuss about if the lady is clean or unclean when cooking. It has to be offered to God, but also the energy of the person. So when people are making prasad, you will hear people say, I just make my prasad myself. But everything goes with that. When the mother in the house is happy and she's singing her prayers and she has that alone time, because everybody needs that little moment just to catch themselves. Not to be badgered by husband or bothered by children. Just a few, if it's 5 o'clock in the morning and the day by itself. And that joy, that happiness, that type of food will bring luster, energy and fulfillment. But when the food has tears, when it is made with bad thoughts, if I wish I had to make the roti for him, but I wish he could dead. Curse words. That type of food is not going to bring the energy that you're looking for. In fact, it wouldn't bring help. You would feel like like you're lacking the luster to go for the day. The person who is doing the Kartik Vrat for this reason should not be eaten from other people. Have you ever heard elders say don't eat outside when you're fasting? Is it only because of the contamination of vegetarian and non-veg? No. That is one of my points tonight, because plenty of people think it's just that, and it's not. It has to do with the caliber of the cook, because I am trying to get my mind happy. I am trying, what I talk about, happy and joyous. I am trying to remain in a good frame. So I don't want to pollute my mind and my body. Think about what I'm saying. If your food is what nourishes your entire body, if it is this source of energy, gas, that feed the whole body, then we want to make sure we get the best form of gas. In this case, it's not only vegetarian, but also pure in terms of the cook, in terms of the mindset. For this reason, when you sit to eat, you should share your food. Serve somebody. A person should not be interacting with people who are jealousful, adulterers. Don't practice adultery when you're doing this vrat. It will not work. Even for the pundit, even for people, do not take gifts. For this reason, when we doing this type of vrat, for yourself, you wouldn't see we doing and teaching and accepting siddha or even bowing. Not when this type of prayers is going on, because the person who is coming to touch you, the Yajman who coming to touch you, is taken from you. The Baba, the Guru, the parent is giving you something. Think what I'm saying. So you're trying to build up your energy, but you're giving it away in simple terms. So you want to achieve the blessing of your vrat. Brother, stay one side. Stay in a clean area, clean place. For this reason, and I learned this the hard way with Pandit Parasram from Avocat. When you go, let's say, I remember that day we went to bury Pandit from Grants Road, Gosain Baba course, and I saw Pandit Parasram, and my inclination is to touch his foot. Say, Gosain Baba, what are you doing? You're mad. You're not supposed to bow. You're not supposed to touch feet in a funeral ground. Do you know that? When you see people going to the funeral now and they're bowing by the dead body and they want to hug up and kiss up, think about that. The person shouldn't be ill-speaking the Devta, that they are still talking to God. Some people like to bad talk their own religion. Some people like to bad talk the Guru. Some people like to bad talk women. Some people like to bad talk the politics. Politics when doing this, because it evokes anger. You have your opinion, I have mine type of argument. Don't go down that road. That will only bring problems. When people attack women, you're going to have difference of opinion. That is not the time. When people, maybe you don't believe in what you're doing, or you don't know about it, don't attack what you're doing. Then you're attacking, you're ill-speaking, the same thing that you're dependent on to get help. How will it work? There are different things for us to avoid. We've talked about the meat and the animal. certain types of fruit, we'll come to that. Stale food is something we have to abstain from. Stale food, certain types of milk, goat milk, buffalo milk, these things are not to be used. Rock salt is not to be used. What a person should do if they intake any of the wrong type of milk, mix panchgavya, we talked about it, the milk, dahi, ghee, cow mutra or urine, gobar, and scrub your teeth with it. If you intake buffalo milk or goat's milk, which is not wise for this type of prayer. Further, the person should be celibate. Straightforward. Not so straightforward. The person should sleep on the ground. Boy, somebody died. We just talk about some people pass away. Let me say in the Suknanan family, in the Samaru family, the Suku family. What are you sleeping on the ground for? Let me say, the person funeral now do 13 days in front of you. What are you doing that for? Why are you doing that for? Me and them pondered them real backward. We could be backward. I wouldn't say no to that. But consider this. Let me use myself as an example. I have such a weakness for meat that if 1 minute after midnight when Diwali done, I could have reached in KFC, I'd have reached. Somebody pass away, you don't expect that. You don't plan to have COVID or get in a car accident or get malaria or something. You don't expect it. Something happened, somebody died. And in that moment, boom, you had to fast. Not only from meat, no. You had to fast from salt and all rigorous type of fast if you want to do it correct. Simply put, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, going. It could be Christmas time, the neighbor them doing the different cremation and all kind of thing happening. Food smelling up the place, oh God. And I'm suffering. Put your heart, think for a second, bear with me. Think what I'm going through. It's hard. And I'm studying this thing and I can't get to eat it in the day. I'm dribbling the lockdown, all the bar closed legally with that back door bar. But the bar closed, I can't get me a drink. I'm dribbling and dribbling and dribbling. When I go to sleep now, well, I couldn't line up in the mandir of KFC to get the parasad in the mandir. Everybody understand what I just said? In the mandir, in the bar, to get all the panchamrit. In my sleep, I go see it, and I go taste it, and I go break my fast. That is constituting breaking your fast. So let the person sleep on the ground. And what is the correlation? Let the person get rest. But they will not get that deep sleep for rapid eye movement, deep dreaming sleep that they might dream. Not only food or drink. What about the spouse? As a householder, when husband and wife time come and you lusty and lusting, that is a major part of what you hear that just now. You just heard practice celibacy. The person should not eat too early. If you're eating fruits, sweet rice, whatever it is, eat later in the day. Only somebody asked me what day we should rub oil on the body in Narak, in Kartik, in the day of Narak Chaturdasi, which is the day before Diwali. That is the only day you take oil and rub the body. That was the day when Lord Krishna destroyed Narakasur, hence the name. In this vrat, a person, now this part important, avoid onion, garlic, mushroom. Mushroom is a fungus and it is supposed to be abstained from when you're fasting for different type of vrat. Not only here, if you have yag, you're not supposed to eat mushroom because of the classification of the vegetable, if you call it vegetable. All forms of garlic, different colors, lotus stalk, radish, and hing. Hing powder is used, as you would know, in Indian cooking. Don't eat it. The observer of the vow or any person who does worship for Lord Vishnu. So this also applies to when you're doing Shraddha or you're doing, Vishnu Puja, bottle gourd. Bottle gourd is a fancy name for, how it is called the thing where it is cut up and put in the pepper? How? Morai? Is it morai? It is look like a bat. My word is bat. A big long, like a big cucumber, but it's not cucumber. And it is be white inside and it is cut it up, so I think, and it is put in lime pepper. Somebody leave me a message today if it is morai. If I'm thinking morai. Bottle gourd, eggplant, pumpkin. Pumpkin is, Mummy Baba just went pumpkin. Yeah, when you're doing Vishnu Puja. Because why are these things, bale fruit, and some, something that looks like piwa. Slematak fruit is something, it does not grow in Trinidad, very popular in Sri Lanka and South India, but it is a relative of piwa. And you would notice that when we have prayers, one thing we never serve in Bandara is piwa. This is why. It is just listed here, something that is supposed to be abstain from. And why? Because of the like, for example, if a man sperm count is very low, one of the things he eats is onion to raise the natural amount of zinc, which is the main ingredient in testosterone. So when you eat the zinc now, it raises the man's libido. So he wants to copulate, he wants to have sex, he wants to be in that way. But I just told you, practice celibacy. Calm down. Don't let it raise up your blood pressure. Don't let it get you feisty in that way. To be straightforward and very open. Everybody big. Garlic and all these other things have different effects on your hormone level. Even eggplant. Eggplant slows or it affects your heart rate, the pulse. Pumpkin as well. Yes, Shalin, Hamsa wale bol Shal. Shal just said yes, Morai. It looks like a big carrot. That is something you're supposed to fast from. Now, bear in mind, everything we just talk about here, when we cooking for we prayers, what we just cook, what we just share. But if you want to do it properly, bale, why is bale being mentioned here? Because people make bale juice, bale fruit, the wood apple, is the other name for it. They blend it and they make the juice for it, and it makes nice juice, but it's just not suitable when you're doing Vishnu Puja. So this would apply like if you're doing Purnima, Vrat, Satnarayan Puja, etc. The observer of this Vrat should abstain from mixing with women that are on their monthlies. The issue with that is obviously in times past, when because of the nature of what is happening to the lady, everybody understand what I'm saying, bacteria, when it was not technology, it would not permit for the level of sanitation that we have today. So don't go around somebody in that way. Likewise, a fallen person, a person who has made bad choices in marriage and now is like an outcast. A person who don't let, no, it's an interesting one. For all those people that overlove dogs and they have to let the dog come in the bed and go in the kitchen and all these things, the person is not supposed to be eating food that is tasted, touched, or close to dogs or crows. Don't eat food that is prepared by women who are unclean due to childbirth. Food that is cooked twice, burnt food, these things should not be ingested during this time. I don't know if anybody wants burnt food, but there are recipes that would require burning something. Even like the tomatoes choka, when you're burning the onion and all those things like that, for example, this is not the time for that type of food. Even the metal in the pot. You see somebody, we have one downstairs, a Krsna and a Radha, where it is made from gun metal, bell metal or gun metal. Because sometimes when you cook the metal, the essence or the pot, it gives the food little trace amount of metal, and there it says that when you're fasting for Lord Vishnu, do not eat in that gun metal, bell metal type of pot. That what you eat may be prepared in those times they would have said clay pots, or those type of pots that would not give off residue. From the first day, the person is supposed to abstain from all forms of badhari fruit, the eggplant, bilva fruit, coconut, etc., and others that some don't exist in Trinidad. The person with this level of fasting, with this purification physically, internally, the person is as if he's coming out from a bad dream. Coming out from a bad dream, and is able to see with a clear mind, very clear, with an improved mindset, speech, and body now. He's able to focus. Why is it so important? Because without the food interfering with you, imagine a Gyaan nice scorpion pepper, and I say chew. Alright, so you chew the pepper. Follow me, you know what's happening to you. But then I tell you, in the next breath, hold your mala and start to say mantra. You say, well, Pandit, you can't do that. Okay, fine. Likewise, if you eat something that is interfering with your pulse, for a person who heart race off, for a person who maybe might eat flour, and the dust in the flour or the bread causes you to get short breath, how will you control your breath if you don't have breath? Suppose you have an allergy to something, and somebody says, okay, go and eat that. That is where we cook, eat that. And then the next breath, come and sit down now and pray. How will you do it? These things are proven to interfere with your ability to remain stable. It sounds strange, yes, because we are not doing this. We do what we want. We know, for example, don't eat onion, don't eat garlic. That is given in Gita. That is not, those things are not sattvic. But in every prayer, the food we just take out for Lord Vishnu, everything which charahawe, onion, the seedha, onion, garlic, pepper, curry, all these things. We know we just fast from pumpkin, fast from baigan, the eggplant. So then what are we doing? Don't eat stale food, don't eat boiled food and burnt food. So then what we doing when we running up to the puja? Think about that. All I'm saying is think about what I'm saying. Could it be that some of the things that we are doing is incorrect? Remember what he said in Gita? The knowledge is the wrath over the sin. The person now, when you start to calm down, because the onion air causing your blood to go like this, your heart not racing, your breathing not going all how, your body is very stable, your breath is stable. You're not lusty, you're not angry, you're not, when you eat plenty pepper, you get angry quick. And in this time, you just want to be cool, calm, and not be so reactive to the external factors. The person talking, it irritating you. The phone study ringing, it irritating you. The car them blowing their horn on the road, it irritating you. The dog can't stop barking, it irritating you. But do your prayers. Baba, do my job, I do the prayers, Yeah, but be honest with yourself. How could you do it? You ever stop to think about that? Tonight, listening to this, don't get tired with all the takarian, please. Think about the quality of your prayer. When the person practices these rules, these values, let it be that the person's mind, their thoughts, their action, everything is purified. It is as if the person, their speech, their body, their ability to react, their body, like they come out from all this quagmire of darkness and other things that are interfering with you, and you are now able to focus your mind on Lord Vishnu. Dear Lord, just as Indra and others just as you were urged by Indra and others to protect man in previous Janam, discourse, etc., protect me now. Wherever a person does your worship, all the form of ghosts, ghouls, lost spirit, unrested people with bad intention, they cannot come there. The four mouths of Brahma fail to describe the religious merit for those persons that practice the Kartik breath following these scriptural injunctions. If a man should observe, along with the restraints that I just described, the vow of Kartik, which is very paramount dear to Lord Vishnu, which destroys all the sins, which gives children wealth, grains, prosperity everywhere. What is the use of visiting and paying homage to sacred places for him? You know, in our Gita there just now, it says, you realize that knowledge gives you God realization. When you are doing your fast, when your austerity of calmness, your diet, and you calm down here, and in the calmness you are able to see God here, and you're doing the vrat, how they describe it. Do you really have to go to external places like Prayag, and when I touch the Ganga, then I become clean? Did it really make you clean? Or as you walk out of the Ganga, will you continue to build negativity, karma, etc.? If I don't learn the lessons of control, discipline, as it was said in Gita, and I go and bathe in the Ganga, I could drink all the water in the Ganga, I could swallow Mother Ganga in my whole belly, bathe in her and everything, and be purified. And that's what we said the first night we talked about the value of Prayag. But as I walk out of the water, I go back to my bad ways. And the story and the heap of sin starts to rebuild. Then every day I'll have to do like this and come and bathe and bathe and bathe and bathe to wash off what is inside, what is inherent, what is bad. Because inside of me, I cannot tell the difference between good and bad. That's the discrimination chapter 4 is talking about. If there is no inclination to stop doing the bad and change and turn your life around to do good, then it means that you're going to do the bad again. Then you will make that mistake again. But when you make the right resolution, when the knowledge comes into you and you make the right decisions, with the right living, this vow is so pure and powerful. It would be as if you bathed in the Ganga where you are. And because of the quality of your life and the choices that you make, there's no need to bathe again, because I am Jivan Mukt. I have found my Mahavishnu. I am gone. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. He says it is now time to bring the vrat to a close. This is for Thursday. When this is going to be done on a bedi, put Tulsi Mata and build a pavilion. Typical, yes, you could make something, but let's just say the 9 flags with the Chandani is fine. To the temple door, people do worship by the temple door or your Pujaram door for Jaya and Vijaya, the 2 guardians of Vaikunt. People do puja with the swastika. The swastika is the mandal on the bedi. Different gems, metal, different types of offerings are prepared for Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi Mata, like how you're seeing them here. Yellow garments are charhavid. Fasting and preparation would have been ongoing, and offering the 16 different ways, the sodas, upachar, sindur, saffron, incense, etc. Puja is done. Then dancing, singing, chanting of the name of God, His story, His discourse, keeping wake during the day, in the night, worshipping of cow, feeding of cow. Imagine we as Hindu people would feed the cow, and then there are some people wouldn't even care if the cow gets frightened when the fireworks go off. The person who recites the Sahasranam, the different stotras of Lord Vishnu and his accounts, his singing is done. Those people who speak and teach other people of what they have learned, those people then, on the full moon day, they invite their Guru and Guru Mai to their home prior to COVID. If this is done, good. If it can't, speak to them on the phone. Since giving in the first discourse, when we were talking from Matsya Puran, where Mahavishnu, when he's in Matsya form or the fish, whatever is given, whatever is offered, whatever is muttered on that full moon day, puja and so on, it brings about inexhaustible fruits. Therefore, the observer of the vow, after doing puja, after doing all the worship, that person would feed the Brahman. Making, let me say, that is the day we're going to make tili cake. Or if you ever see when we're doing Shrad and you see the sohari or the puri, and they put, they would make kheer, that's where you boil the rice in the milk, and they will put the tili cake. Tili cake is one of the things that is supposed to be shared. Feed them sesame seed and sweetened milk, like in sweet rice, kheer, etc. So sometimes people mix the sesame seed in the sweet rice to share it when you're doing the food, salt food as well as this sweet food. By pleasing them, you gain great amount of blessing. Then worship them. This is where the hospitality part, wash the hand, fan them, and it will be as if you are getting the blessing of Lord Vishnu, Tulsi Mata and all the other devatas again. Worship the cow. By the grace of Mother, may your prayers be answered. May your prayer be fruitful. And even then, as you are bowing to the earth after feeding and praying to the cow, may upon my death, when my body gives up the Jivatma, may I attain the position of Lord Vishnu, is the prayer of the person. Having apologized, having pleased all the Brahmanas, send them off with gifts, whatever you could afford, the siddha, the little clothing, dachna, whatever, to conclude that rite. And then the person sits down to eat with elders and friends. Do you know that the etiquette, when Guruji is at your home, you feed your Guru first? Some people don't know that. Some people, Baba, you sit down and you eat first. Ma, Pa, all sit down. And I will serve. And by serving people, you get the blessing. By taking out the food, literally by doing this, that's service, that's seva, you get the blessing. But the sinful person cannot do that. He does not have that humility. In fact, he is more filled with abhiman and I guess hunger, because he has to rush to eat before his parents, before the elders, before the guests. Imagine you invite guests to come and sit to eat, and you have to eat first. You know where you see that misconception? When it's 13 days, let's say Bandara or in the bar, the 10 days you invite the Baba to eat. But as you're hearing here, the Baba is where your blessing coming from. By serving him, by giving that Purohit food, your ancestors, you get blessing. But the tradition in Trinidad is the person in the house eat 5 mouthfuls. That is totally wrong. Think about it. Somebody invite you over and them alone must eat. That serves no benefit. That doesn't make sense. Unless maybe you're trying to say, let the person who in the house eat first to make sure the food tasting good or it's safe, or from that aspect, I guess. But there's no religious benefit. Who's supposed to eat first? The Baba them supposed to eat. Baba, you taste the food. You bless the food first. We can't jota the food until you taste that food. That is the correct way. And when the Brahman eats, then everybody else begins. And they are not supposed to get up from that meal row until the senior Pandit or the Guru says, okay, everybody, or you could stand up now, or you could get up. That is the etiquette. That is the dharma. In this way, after sending them off, the person sits with friends and elders to eat themselves. A man who observes this vrat, all sins, for people who, I was talking the first night about a godson whose uncle took him to deliver a calf, and the mother, the heifer and the calf died, unfortunately. And the sin of that cow dying, he feels as if because the blood was on his hands, he was involved in the procedure, and maybe they handled it wrong, I'm not sure, I wasn't there. But that sin walked with him, and he's always asking, what could I do? What could I do? What could I do? All sins getting released from this goes into the proximity of Lord Vishnu now and when the life leaves the body. The fruit due to the observance of this vow, when done properly, is greater than any other vow that exists. It is greater than any tirat or yatra or sar that exists. It is greater than any holy place or any holy journey. Those who are engrossed in the devotion to Mahavishnu, when observe the Kartik Vrat, are lucky. They become very meritorious and they gain all the fruits of their prayer. Sins remaining in this body have deliberation through fear of him. It sins, the history, he overcomes it because of the amount of good that he has done. If this man, the sin says, the sin is saying, if this man has observed this vow, where will we go now? Because we cannot remain with him. He is too blessed. He is too good. Those devotees who listen to this discourse that deals with the restraint, those that read this discourse before the devotees of Lord Vishnu would obtain the fruit due to their having properly observed the vow or teaching those that would observe the vow and have all their sins destroyed. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. One little part I want to read from you here at the end. Chapter 117 from volume 8 of Padma Puran. Again, Kartik is asking Lord Shiva about it. Lord Shiva emphasizes in this section that, O child, it is in Kali Yuga that people show all forms of slackness, his word, slackness and slackening of rules when it comes to bathing. That bathing is where our prayer, our puja start. And when it is compromised, the quality of the outcome of the prayer is never going to be what you expect. O Kartik, there are 4 types of bath in this world: Vayavya, Varuna, Divya, and Brahman. A bath in the evening is called Vayavya in Nitya. This type of bath is not usually involved in spiritual work. This is the physical bathing, normal bathing, what you and I have. A bath in the sea, Varuna, is called Varuna. A bath with hymns chanted by the Brahmanas is called Brahmya. And when a divine bath or Divya bath is the one that happens with the water that is coming directly from the clouds. There's certain prayer when the person may be standing in the water, in the river, and the rain is falling and they allow that water to beat their body. That is called Divya bath. When a person follows these things and of these types in the age of Kali Yuga, the Varuna bath is most suitable for the Kartik Vrat. This Vrat, when the person bathes in the ocean, they are able to overcome the sins, the mistakes. Why? Because in our first night, where the history of Kartik came from, it came from the son of Varun, the son of the ocean, Shankar. He dived into the ocean to hide from Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Vishnu says, when he beat him and destroyed him and everything, he says, I remain in the ocean waters in the month of Kartik. So blessed is the person who goes on the full moon day. That day has the value. So if somebody comes and says, well, I don't go to work Thursday, but the temple going, well, today's Sunday, please understand that is not going to give you the same benefit. And that is why I'm touching on that tonight. Sometimes we have people, maybe we want to go as a big group, maybe we want to do something. And I'm saying this for people who live in abroad as well, because you all could go by a beach and just, if it's just to take the water and pass it over your head because it's winter time. But nonetheless, that is why we go to the sea, and that is why we go on the day, not 5 days, 6 days before, or 5 days, 6 days after. You will never get the blessing. Think about the timing, the quality of the food, the quality of the place we sleep in, how we think, how we do. Think about all that factors that when you say, I'm fasting from meat, I'm fasting from liquor, and I'll get through with my prayers. Did you really prepare for your prayers? It shows how much more our Dharma has. And I'm throwing it out tonight for each and everybody to hear. So, you heard about the Varun Puja. You heard that the sea bath is the bath. Did you hear anywhere in that, in the description of the puja, last time we did it as well, did you hear anything about taking 5 yard of cloth, opening it in the seawater, and going with fruits and all the other packs of when they take the milk, mommy baba, and they empty the pack of milk inside the cloth in the jewelry now, they had to throw the pack of milk right there. The same Ganga and Varun Devta they worship in the pack of milk, the plastic bag, all the containers have to go right there, garbage. And they go in and they're joring now, they're swinging Jola for Ganga Mata. Did you hear Ganga Mata anywhere in this entire discourse for these 3 nights? Did you hear about Lord Vishnu going into the water and he says, I remain in the water for you, those of you who come in the water on the full moon day when the Kartik is finishing, I wait for you and I will bless you, and everything we've been talking about is to take away the sin. Oh Prabhu. Did you hear that you could bathe in different places, man-made artificial pond? Take a bucket and bathe. If you can't go in the water and a person has river water, you could take a bottle with the water on Sunday. If you could get a bottle with sea water or salt water and just pass it on your body, that could happen. So a person goes to a puja store and they say Ganga Jal and they buy it and they use that. In Trinidad, we under different circumstances, but under normal circumstances, we all know that for the devoted, for the person that wants to make the sacrifice, a day in the week is difficult, I agree, but if they want to do it properly, they will do what they have to do and go and visit the ocean. But it does not say anywhere that you have to mess up the beach. Because whatever you all put, you're not going 50 feet out in the water, you're going right there with the wave breaking. And all that will happen, it will just come back on the shores. And that will not decay. That is going to beat up. People are going to think we as Hindu people are going crazy. Nowhere in this does it say offer those things in the sea. Nowhere. Nowhere. I'm not joking. You do the worship by the murti, by the plant, maybe at your baby at home, and you do your prayer. But when you go into the sea, you go to bathe, that's it. You go to pray. You don't have to tote a jola and a basket and you're going to throw away everything. Then what you're really doing, you're focusing more on what to carry and pelt it and throw it. And you know how people is. And when you're coming out, you can't come out with anything as if we are in the Christian faith. And there's the story where you can't look back or you turn the salt. When you throw the milk and you have these crazy rules people come up with. When you're coming out of the water, you can't come out with anything. Why are you coming out with clothes? Take off your clothes, do. If you have to leave the garbage, follow me, or don't vex with me. If you have to leave the garbage in the sea because something bad will happen to you, and you know there is somebody said that, they didn't tell you how to take off your clothes, though. Leave your jockey and leave everything right there and walk out stark naked, man, and know that God bless you. These kind of craziness have to stop. And I just wanted tonight and last night and the night before to build the narrative of what is Kartik. Kartik is a very auspicious, is a great event when done properly, is what he says. We are worshiping nature. We're not harming nature. We are worshiping. We are doing things to bring goodness. So you went by the river to offer your milk or to put your little flowers to dissolve or whatsoever. Find out dissolve in that slower temperament of a river compared to the sea. But where the plastic bag had to tie on the banister or it had to throw in the river, then what are you doing? Isn't the river the Devta? Isn't the earth the Devta? How could you worship something and then do that? Where's the wisdom in that? Where is that coming from? People do this and we send the younger guy and we send this one and we send who will go by the river, but they're doing wrong. You took the time, you check the money to invest, the effort to make the parasad. But when now you're giving it, what you put on the bedi, you're giving it to the god in the nitya so that it will be recycled and used back in the earth for the earth's processes. You're committing litter and you're damaging the earth. What sense that make? In fact, having listened to all this tonight, I hope that a little clarity, because I'm sure there are people who will say, well, my mother-in-law is to do it one way and that is what I'm going to do. And all I want to say is you do it. And one day you will realize that what you are doing does not make sense. Because you're doing puja and you are not happy and you're not getting help, maybe you are doing something wrong. Some people, chapter 4, let me jump in at verse 24. As we conclude our yagya, I'm reading Gita again, chapter 4, verse 24 upward. In the practice of seeing God everywhere in the form of yagya, sacrifice, Brahma becomes the spoon which is going to use to be offered in the havan. Brahma again is the thing inside the spoon. We said the ghee. Brahma is the fire. Brahma is the person holding the spoon to offer. The act, the energy that is causing your hand to do so. He's that. Finally, Brahma is the goal. What comes when I do the havan, the blessing, he's that too. Such is sacrifice, such is yagya, such is puja. When I say sacrifice, I don't mean animal sacrifice. The word yagya means sacrifice. Yagya is not only sitting down with the pandit and the pandit singing and reading. Yagya is puja. Yagya could be, some yogis do havan, the physical offering. Some people do yagya only in the form of worship. Others perform yagya by offering themselves. How? Some offer their hearing, that I am going to sacrifice my hearing. I'm not going to listen to gossip. I'm only going, you see, while I'm doing this fasting, I don't want to hear nothing bad. Only play bhajan in this house. A simple example. In the fires of self-discipline, I am not going to curse whilst I'm fasting. I am not going to tell untruth. Other yogis, again, offer the sound or other objects of perception into the fires. You are talking about the Havan Kun fire, right? You know about that fire, the physical fire, swaha, swaha. But I'm only watching all the girls and them. I'm only talking gossip and rudeness. I'm only listening to gossip. Then are you really doing a sacrifice? The sacrifice now is when you take it a step further. And he says, this is how some people sacrifice. I am not going to entertain. You see, while I'm fasting, while I'm doing this Kartik, I'm not going to entertain that kind of conversation. I'm not going to use that kind of language. I'm not going to want to eat that type of food. I'm sacrificing that drink. I love to eat. I love to drink alcohol. But you see, while I'm doing this prayer, I'm going to walk away from that. My God is more important. My God is bigger than that drive for that type of rum or alcohol or whatever it is. Other sacrifices, all the functions of their air, of their breath, their prana, in the shape of self-control. And this kindles wisdom, because you sit down and you listen to the chit, the inner voice. I'm going to hold my breath. I'm going to practice Mount Vrat. I'm not going to waste my breath. I'm not going to talk to thee. I'm practicing Kartik breath and I'm going to stay quiet. And when you're quiet and you're not taking on stupid people and their words and their vices and their jealousy, imagine you're trying to do your prayers. Just put this thought in your mind. And somebody come and they're telling you, yeah, see, last night, you see how she dressed? I don't know if the husband sees she. And you there with your poor self trying, dear God, I'm trying. I want to get the best. And I know I'm doing this prayer for something. And this person come like the serpent in the garden of God to corrupt you. Then you have to know to say, I am not mixing with that. You see that? I do not want that. Have you ever hear somebody bad talking their guru and somebody say, listen, you can't do that. I don't listen to anybody bad talking my guru. That's a rule and I'm not breaking that rule. I do what I sin. That is a form of sacrifice, when you practice this self-control, self-discipline. Some perform sacrifice or yag with material possession. You understand that? They give towel, they give food. I want to help with your roof, I'll give you 2 sheets galvanized. Some others sacrifice in the shape of austerities, fasting, job. I am going to read 108 Hanuman Chalisa. Others sacrifice through the practice of yoga, singing. I'm going to sing tonight. I'm going to cook tonight. I am doing this because it's Kartik month. I'll be in the temple making all the sweets for them. Whilst other striving souls observe austerities, austere vows, perform sacrifice in the shape of wisdom through the study of our sacred texts. Vindravan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Some people will do physical puja, and some people start to think of controlling their body, your wants, your eating. Some people will control what they're talking about, what they're watching, maybe the quality of TV show you're watching in the time. Some people take it further and say, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read my holy book every day in this month of Kartik. I'm going to strive to understand what I don't understand. I'm going to strive to learn what I don't know. And in doing it, the person ups their game. Tonight, as we conclude in our yag, I have to sing a little bhajan because of the Prabodhani. And before we do that, in synopsis, do you see how much more we could do? Do you see where we could improve? Knowledge is the raft that will take you over your sin. Read chapter 4 Bhagavad Gita. With the knowledge, you will improve. And when you improve in your prayer, you'll improve in your life. Tonight, Ram Samir Samaru, today is his 6th month, Auntie Uma, Sargam, and sister. Balaram Suku, that young guy, closed his eyes, and Suki, Kowar Suknanan. I sing for you all, and I sing for all those families that are in trouble. There are many people. There are families that because, think about what's in here. Somebody died, but the family now is at risk, so we're waiting to hear from the people, the government, the whosoever, if the younger family, the remaining family has COVID because they have to go into quarantine. So we're waiting, funeral waiting too. Then you get quarantine, so now the funeral have to wait until you get word, then quarantine, there's another wait. And then somebody else gets quarantined, so you have to wait again. That's happening. The funeral homes are guiding people. Why bother to do 10 days, 13 days and all these things? On the funeral day, this is the new way. This is the new thing. On the funeral day, do 10 days, 13 days, 6 months, 1 year, everything. That's the hip way. That's the new way. We'll leave that for another discourse, another night. Until we get to sit down to do Yagya again, everybody. Let's do this little chant. As I glorify Mahavishnu, sing with me. Ao Sai Narayana Darshan Dejo Tum ho Prema Swarupa. Sitting where you are, just help me sing. You know me, I am not a singer. Tum ho Prema Swarupa. Tumhi ho Brahma. Tumhi ho Vishnu. Tumhi ho Brahma. Tumhi ho Vishnu. Tumhi ho Shankar Rupa. Tumhi ho Shankar Rupa. Ao Sai Narayana Darshan Dejo. Tum ho Prema Swarupa. Tum ho Ananda Rupa. Tumhi ho Rama. Tumhi ho Krishna. Tumhi ho Rama. Tumhi ho Krishna. Tumhi ho Vishwavidata. Tumhi ho Vishwavidata. आओ साई नारायण दर्शन देजो, आओ साई नारायण दर्शन देजो, तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपा, तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपा. You are Sri Ram, you are Lord Krishna, indeed. You, Vishwa Vidata, you are the master of this universe. तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपा, तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपा. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Tonight I want to thank my sister Charlene Gangaram. Somebody, when I was younger, let me tell you a secret. Charlene used to live across the road from my grandparents, my nana and nani. This is somebody I consider to be a sister till today. If you ever hear me talking about Charlene, this is his eldest sister, Charlene. And I remember sitting at Charlene's feet, and Charlene is playing the dolak. The person who taught me to play dolak, other than Charlene, was Charlene. I remember years ago, now I started to sing on microphone, frightened, was Charlene who taught me how to sing Vardade, 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 Vardade. Still can't get it. Charlene gonna laugh. I remember I couldn't catch the timing for that song for nothing. And she sat down with me when everybody was getting vexed with me. Charlene sat down and with patience sang that song. And we grew up with them. And Charlene, I'm glad to have you with me tonight. May your family be safe. Tell Baba asks for him. God bless my dear. Tell Shia asks for she. Baba asks for she. God protect your village from COVID and all keep safe. Everybody, it was a wonderful time spent with all you on this Ekadasi day. And I hope you all learned a lot. I hope you remember some. If I offend anybody because of the nature of some of the things we talk about, I apologize. But we need to be mindful and be careful of what we're doing. And remember where chapter 4 Gita tell you. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is the raft that will take you across your sins. And if you do your prayers, you have a few days remaining. Tomorrow is Tulsi Viva. Do your prayers. Pray for change. Pray for safety. Now we need prayers. More and more people are dying. It is spreading. You need to wake up and do what you have to do. Be responsible. Wear your mask, sanitize, do what you have to do. Most of the people in the hospital is the people who don't have vaccine. Now, I am skeptical. I took mine and I was skeptical. May I say no, nothing wrong with having, a sense of a wonder if it's safe. No argument. But when you weigh the option of what happening to unvaccinated people and the risk, might make sense taking the vaccine. It's not perfect, I agree. There's no argument. You're correct. It's not perfect, but it is better than suffering and dying, because people are dying. This is not you're just getting sick and you're getting better. Tonight, I hope that you heed the call for good decisions when it comes to your prayer. My focus is your prayer, because we need prayers to help you right now. God bless your children, protect your home from seen and unseen danger. I look forward to your comments. Everybody, if you're watching this on the review, it says the person who shares this type of knowledge encourages others to hear. They get the blessing as if they did it. So if we can't go to the beach, at least you listen to the discourse and you'll get the blessing. Believe it or not, it works. Share the satsang. Leave me a comment. Leave me your questions. And if not this week, next week when we're doing yoga again, because we are trying at the ashram to continuously give you the knowledge that you require, the knowledge you need. This is why I hope you appreciate it. Everybody, please draw your hands as we do final pratna. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam Tvameva sarvam Mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam Mama deva deva Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Prem Sabalo Mahapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Pavanaputra Hanumana ki Jai. Shri Lakshmi Mata ki Jai. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Jai Jai Sitaram. Sitaram everybody. Have a blessed night. Enjoy your Tulsi Viva tomorrow. God bless you. I hope you had a good Ekadasi day. God bless you. And God bless you who gets to listen to this discourse. May you be good. May you be well. May you be safe. And for those people that has fighted, their relatives or their self are fighting the fight in the hospital, may health and the blessings of Mahavishnu be with you always. From us here at the Ashram, from me and Priya Mata, Sitaram, God bless. Good night, everybody. Until next time.